Hi, welcome to this edition of Growing Wisdom. I'm Dave Epstein, your host, and we're going to be talking about Heurchera. I am standing among 8 different varieties of Heurchera today, and they all are wonderful foliage plants. They do flower, but it's the leaves. That's why you want to get these plants. They're great in part sun to light shade. I find that in full shade they don't do as well, and in full sun they can burn out. So morning sun, afternoon shade is probably ideal for these plants. The plant really doesn't want any extremes in terms of water. Not too wet, not too dry, and it will thrive throughout the entire year. So let's take a look at each of the 8 varieties before us. So this is Heurchera Georgia Peach, and you're going to hear me say the same thing for all of them. It really is the leaf color and the leaf texture that you want. This is a moderate leaf size. I love the fact that it is a little bit variegated, and you can see just how this carpet would look in the garden. If you had an area that you really wanted to brighten up or bring a pop of color, this is a great plant. So this next one is Carnival Rose. We're going to show you one after this that's Carnival Plum Crazy. They almost look the same, and some of these the differences are very subtle. For example, this has mainly a burgundy leaf, but notice how the Carnival Plum Crazy has a little bit of white mixed in with that leaf. This next plant is a Heurcherella, not a Heurchera. It's a cross between a Tiarella and a Heurchera, and it gives you Heurcherella. And it has similar characteristics to both. I think the main difference is it's a little softer looking plant in terms of the leaf texture, and the flowers tend to be a little bit showier than the Heurcheras, but basically it's the same thing, and you'd be forgiven if you couldn't tell the difference. You can see this has just a brilliant orange color. It is the most orange plant we have in this group, and it's just going to be a fantastic one in the shade garden. So this is Carnival Black Olive, and what's interesting about this is the top of the leaf does have that olive color, but underneath it's a little more burgundy. This is Heurchera Caramel, and you can see that somebody wasn't very creative. They just looked at this and said, hey, looks like caramel. Let's call it that. And that's exactly what it looks like. One of the differences between this and everything else I've shown you is the leaf is very small. So this gives a different texture to the garden because it's a smaller leaf. I would mass at least 5 of these together. So this is Velosa Caramel, so slightly different than the one I just showed you. It grows much taller, so the difference between these two, bigger leaf, and it's bigger in the garden. The previous one, perhaps good for the front of the border. This one, I'd kind of put back a little bit. So this is Heurchera Southern Comfort. It's the biggest of all the leaves I just showed you in all the different varieties. It also has a texture that's a little bit different, so it's almost fuzzy. It's not as smooth. You can feel like a little soft hairs on this plant, and it's a little sturdier looking, so this really does make a statement in the garden. It stands up on its own. Southern Comfort, it might give you a buzz, but don't try to drink it. So what do you think? What's your favorite? I think Heurcherella Sweet Tea is my favorite because of that wonderful orange color we talked about. But in general, they're just great plants. I don't think you can have too many. For Growing Wisdom, I'm Dave Epstein.